testify.
With over 24% of the 1.9 billion square acres in America alone, the mountains that so many people call home are also host to some of the most incredible mysteries in the world. The missing, the murdered, strange creatures, unexplained lights, and sightings of unidentified objects. These stories may be strange, they may be sad, they may be odd, but they are mysterious. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. And now, live from the Pantry Studio, broadcast to all time zones around the world, with listeners of the podcast in the United States, Canada, Germany, Norway, India, the United Kingdom, and more. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Now, your host, Chris Sloan.
Hope that you all are having a good evening, and thanks a lot, and welcome to one of the Mountain Mysteries 3. Of course, we've got Blurs, the podcast, the Mountain Mysteries, the thing started this whole thing. And this, of course, is Gatherings. I'm Chris Lynn, I'm your host. I hope that you have had a good week so far. We'll be doing this again on Thursday. This is an abbreviated edition just to get you up to date on some things that are going on. Today, we released on Patreon Lorraine Warren in the Shadows, Part 2. Difference. Part 1 was getting really to know a little bit more about who Lorraine Warren was. And through her, we kind of got to know who Ed Warren was. Part 2 is going to be a little bit more about the cases. Now, she would not talk about the Amityville thing. Apparently that messed her up so bad that she didn't want to recall it. Well, I get that. George and Kathy Lutz said the same thing. And the thing about that was after all of that happened, from my understanding, the other people that lived there did not have any kind of reports about things like that happening. Nothing necessarily paranormal anyways, but I'm also told that they did suffer a lot of tragedies. Excuse me. And a lot of things happened to them. Different people after that, such as deaths and things like that. Whether or not that's true, it's unverified on my part. I don't know. But I do know that if you have something so traumatic happen to you that you don't want to talk about it even years later, that is the very definition of traumatic. But I will tell you what she does talk about. She talks a lot about Annabelle and 3 specific cases surrounding that doll in which one person got killed after challenging it. Another priest who picked it up, or a priest who picked it up and threw it down, also said, Lorraine, or rather Ed, God is more powerful than the devil. And Ed said, yes, he is, but no man is. Well, that priest got into, you know what, just listen to it. If you've got Patreon, you've got it right now. You can go onto the Patreon website and you can check it out. I've also spent great hours last night uploading some episodes to YouTube. Why it takes hours? It's not on this end, it's on their end. They have to process everything and the video and the sound, and I guess. And it took something like 15 or 20 minutes to upload and process, maybe 30 minutes to upload one episode. But we are going to be uploading those very much so. I've kind of neglected that. But I want those stories out there. And the reason I've neglected it is because we've had so much other things going on. If you're not a Patreon member, become one. Please jump on there for as little as $3 a month. You get that. You get early access to all the episodes. You also get the blurs and a few other things too. You can look more about that if you want to. How do you get to Patreon? Well, I'm glad you asked. Or how do you get anything else? We now have a website. Thanks to my daughter and son-in-law. And this thing, I thought it was pretty cool. It is actually, let me get that down there. There you go. It is www.themountainmysteriespodcast.com. And I just think that was really pretty cool. I kind of always thought, well, we'll do one, but it'll probably take them a few days. Allie had this thing done in 2 or 3 hours yesterday, and then Arrow went in today and done some stuff to it. Of course, you can also get links to it on our Facebook pages, Patreon page. But as you can see there, it's themountainmysteriespodcast.com. So do me a favor, check it out. And you can contact us through there too. Let us know your thoughts on it. It is brand new. The thing has been up now for less than 48 hours. We published it yesterday, but when she gets her mind on something, she gets it done. So you're going to hear a lot more about that coming up in the future episodes too. And I hope that you'll check that out. You are able to go on there and listen to every episode that's published right now on there. On themountainmysteriespodcast.com, you can check out all the episodes from the real podcast. You can see what's coming up and coming up soon. There's a lot more that's going to be done to it. But honestly, it's just kind of cool. It's more than I thought. It really is. It's a lot more than I thought. Something else I wanted to mention on Facebook too, that I think on both my personal page and the Mountain Mysteries page, I released, and this is something I'll almost never do because it's Facebook. I use that to promote things, but I wanted to do this to honor April, given what today's date is and what tomorrow's is. Tomorrow makes 30 years that she was taken from us. I posted the entire episode 1 on Facebook. You click it, it'll take you straight to YouTube. You can listen to the whole thing. That was in honor of her. It doesn't cost you squat. I hope that you'll listen to it if you've not yet. And this is an incredibly easy way for anybody to hear this episode. You can also do it again. You can listen to it on the mountainmysteriespodcast.com, Facebook. I've made it about as easy as I can make it. And I never want to make it challenging for anybody to get a hold of one of these episodes. But what I do want to do is, I want people to hear this. I want her remembered. She was the whole reason this thing got started. The whole reason. Period. End of story. No more discussion. It was April that got this thing started. She's why I did it. And it's grown ever since. And do I feel like we're blessed? Absolutely. Yeah. We've had a lot of great response from it. I'd like to see our live videos go up a little bit in numbers, but inevitably they do. I mean, it's just while I'm live. So I do welcome everybody in the chat room, and I'm kind of looking around right now, seeing that, Tony and Chris and Sharon, of course, Sharon, I love you, and my heart and prayers are with you, and with Tim and with, your entire family. So I wish I could do more. Never gets easier. And I don't expect that it never will. But I do have a favor to come to you, kind of like I don't really wear hats. On occasion, I wear a ball cap, so with cap in hand. Share the website. Let people see it. It's something that I want people to get used to, because that is going to be the center of the Mountain Mysteries universe, that website. And the reason I say that is because it's the one place that you'll be able to go to get everything. If you want to donate, you can donate. If you want to Patreon, you can Patreon. If you want to listen to the podcast without paying, that's fine too. You'll be able to do that. You'll get information on upcoming episodes, events. Am I going to dump the Facebook? Not necessarily, but everything's going to be put to that website first, starting yesterday. Yesterday. That's where it's all going to be. It's one of those things where instead of me or Allie or Arrow having to go in and update this and that and this and that and this and that, we do it in one spot. And what's going to happen is it's going to be a time release thing to whereas when we put it on the website's automatically going to shoot it out to social media and stuff like that. I don't know how in the blue hell she did that, but she did it. What can I say? I got a smart kid and a smart son-in-law. I've got a great daughter and a great son-in-law. Hey, Teresa, thanks for coming in. I appreciate all you guys. But what I was saying about the numbers on the live video cast, it's cool because, I've done it before with as little as 2 or 3 people. And a day or two later, it's like 324 views. That is what I do like about this because Facebook will automatically post it up there. And we're streaming on multiple platforms right now. It's like 3 or 4 Facebooks, a Twitch. Well, hell, I can tell you exactly what else it is. D Live. Apparently LinkedIn. How did Arrow get that done? Several different things, and we're going to add more. By the time we get done, we're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 channels that we're streaming this thing live on. Why? Well, why not? I mean, my thought is the more people that hear it, then the more people know about what's going on here. And I'm not talking about the Mountain Mystery. I'm talking about April. I'm talking about Tim. I'm talking about DeWayne. I'm talking about Muriel. I'm talking about the people. Even on our about thing on our website, it says that the Mountain Mysteries is by the people for the people. Arrow wrote that, by the way. But he did a good job because he nailed it. I've always said that the Mountain Mysteries is about the people. And that's what it is about. So, let's see, what is today? Tuesday? Sunday evening, I think I finished it up. Coming May 28th, Buried Alive, The Mountain Mystery of Octavia Hatcher. For those of you who don't know, and I found out that my daughter, excuse me, who had gone to a Pike County school, had never heard of her. She went to Belfry. And she had never heard of Octavia Hatcher. And I said, what? So I thought everybody in Eastern Kentucky had heard of her. Well, here's the gist of it. 1895, I think it was. I'm sorry, my mind's in a fog right now. But this is the legend. Okay, she had gotten married to Uncle Jim Hatcher. That's what everybody called him, Uncle Jim. His name was James. Great guy. And she got married to him when she was like 19. He was 29, so she was like 10 years his junior. Anyways, they get married, and about a year or two goes by, something like that, and then they have a child. The child dies pretty much at birth. As if that's not traumatic enough. She goes into this deep, dark depression. Literally goes to her bed. And I think how I wrote that was rarely, if ever again, did she leave the confines of her sheets. I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been going and going and going. And you think that's bad. There's my baby girl in there right now under Kodiak. She just popped in. Allie, I'm bragging about, yes, you guys are just awesome. But with the website and everything else you do, thank you so much. But she lays down and she goes to sleep and winds up going into a coma. And on May 2nd, she is declared dead by a doctor. So back in that day, embalming wasn't really a thing. So they hold the funeral and bury her as quickly as possible, of course. Air conditioning, of course, in 1895, 1890, whatever, it was, you didn't call your HVAC people. They bury her, and come to find out it was a short while later, very short, like within a week. Excuse me for the call. I'm sorry, it's sinuses and allergies. But apparently some people that had this situation, they had the same kind of symptoms, and they started waking up from this thing. So Uncle Jim's like, whoa, what the hell? and it hits him. Zoom in on the camera. Boom. If they're waking up, did we bury her alive? So allegedly, he goes and gets this emergency exhumation order. And they work like fighting fire to uncover the grave. And they're raising the casket up out of the ground. And they find out that the casket was not airtight. Well, this is all. Wow, Allie, really? This is all. I love my daughter. This is all hearsay and legend, of course. So they're raising it up and they see the lid is kind of a little open. They pop open the lid, and again, this is, and I'm sorry, I cite sources on here. This is like from the haunting websites and all this stuff. Anyways, they say that the top of the lining of the casket lid had been ripped to shreds. Her fingernails were bloody, and she was contorted in a state of terror. Now, the ghost stories and the rumors say that she laid in that coffin for 7 days trying to get out and couldn't. I'm not sure that the human body can survive much longer than 3 or 4 days without water. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I can look it up and find out. But again, it's on the internet, so it must be true. Well, that's bullshit. We all know that. But I go into great detail in this particular episode. Now, this will be available to, if you're a Patreon person, you're actually going to get that bad boy on the 25th, and everybody else gets it on the 28th. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If I get a new Patreon supporter or two by the 22nd, this one time, I'm going to drop that episode for Patreon. Instead of being 2 days early, I'm going to drop it 5 days early. I'll drop it on the 22nd. Yeah, I can do that. I'm the one that wrote it. And yes, I do cite sources. But anyways, that's just an extra thank you to our current Patreon supporters. So if I get a couple of more, and the reason why, well, guess what? We got a website now. And even though my child works, she would probably walk to the moon and back for me. I don't want anybody to work for nothing. And she is no different. She's got skills. And when you see this website, if you've not already, you'll see that they're pretty mad skills. And just because she's my child doesn't mean that this is indentured servitude and she's a slave. I pay her for that. I pay her for her work because her work is more than worth being paid for to me. So, $3 a month. A couple of y'all join Patreon. I'll drop that thing Saturday. I'll drop that bad boy Saturday on Patreon only. And yeah, coming up Sunday, then you've got a new blur, which one of our listeners has submitted. And I certainly appreciate her. It's something that allegedly happened to her a few years ago. And I mean, it scared the blue right out of her. And I get why. So you can also submit your blurs on the website. We are actually going to have a space just for that. If somebody wants to submit something that is you had an encounter with a spirit, or maybe you were out in the woods and saw something, heard something. I don't know. Maybe you saw something in the sky. Yeah. Let's call it what it is, a UFO. Whatever it is, if you've had something that's kind of changed your outlook on life or rattled you a little bit, you can submit that right there on the website. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at it. Again, like we have down there, it's themountainmysteriespodcast.com. Share that for me if you don't care. Let your friends and family see it. Tell them about it. Say, hey, just go on there and check that thing out. You'll be able to actually listen to some of the podcasts on there too. I still love for you to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and all these other things. But the truth of the matter is I want these stories out there. I want people to hear them. I want people to know what is going on with, these new cases. And as we receive new information, we update them daily. So that's never, I think that it's important, more important than anything, that people hear the stories about April, about DeWayne, about Mamie Thurman. Mamie Thurman kind of falls under an urban legend, but you know what? She was a real human being. Whether or not 22 Mine Road is actually haunted, I can't say. What I can tell you is that she died in 1932. She was born in 1900. She had a husband. Um, she was a real human being. I know that. I know those things. Other than that, the rest of it is up to you to decide. I got so, but I hope that you guys will check out the website. And my thoughts on watching April's funeral. Wow. Well, I guess now's as good a time as any. When she died in 1991, I did not go to her funeral, and I'll tell you why I did not go to her funeral, because I did not want to see her laying there like that. I wanted to remember her as she was. Hope y'all don't mind if I have a peanut. M&M peanut. Thank you, Allie, for those, by the way. Sharon had recorded this. It's not an uncommon practice. Anyway, the day of the celebration of life, which was May 8th, after it was all over and the balloons were released and the cleanup was done, and she asked me, do you want to see this? My first thought was no. I really don't want to see her laying there. But I wanted to pay respect. So I went and I watched it. My thoughts on that, first off, there were more people there than a building twice that size, I don't think, could have held everybody. This was at Jones and Preston Funeral Home in Paintsville. I don't think a building twice that size could have held everybody. When people lined up to say their goodbyes, there was this guy, or this group of people up there singing Amazing Grace, which is one of the most beautiful songs. I sung it at my grandfather's funeral. My mom had a memorial service. Trevor Huff and I, we didn't sing, even though Trevor can and I cannot. I simply read something very close to me about her while he played a guitar. But that song is so beautiful. But this person, or these group of people, had to play this, or had to sing this song, Amazing Grace, 3 times over and over, to give everybody the opportunity to walk by and say their goodbyes. You know, I think that I was so... Have you ever been so tired you can't sleep? Honestly, I feel like I was so... Shocked is not the word. I couldn't cry. Maybe that's because of God's peace, or maybe I do believe that April was there that day. I do. I believe it with all my heart. Maybe she was with me watching that. But it doesn't surprise me so much as an inch that there were that many people there. The girl was loved. Still is. You know, I've never heard anybody, to me anyways, say anything derogatory about her. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. They don't want to. Not to me. Did she make mistakes? Hell, we all made mistakes. She was a teenager. I did worse than she did. It doesn't give you a right to speak ill about people who have gone on. And I don't care I hope whoever's responsible from this hangs from the highest friggin' tree in the county. I've got my suspicions. And I'll say it again. Your time can't come soon enough. I'm sorry, I get downright pissed off. Because I did care about her. Yeah, Sharon wrote overwhelmed. Yeah, probably a good word for it as any. I much would rather have seen her. And, Sharon posted something on her Facebook about wishing that we could have seen her as a mom, as a wife, as a woman. Yeah, I would have loved that. I would have loved to have seen that. Man, she would have been awesome. She would have been awesome. The balloons that we released up there were 60 of those suckers, I think. 60. Yeah. Anyways, it said that the helium-filled balloon will probably last maybe close to a day, if that, floating. We released those on May 8th. Okay. And it was on May 16th, I think it was, or 15th, a full week, close to a week and a half now after they were released, that a prison guard in the big house in Martin County, had to say it like that, sorry, but a prison guard at a federal correctional institution in Martin County saw those balloons floating. And this was like on the 15th or 16th, something like that. This past Sunday morning at 7, I'm told. So this past Sunday morning would have been the 16th. So they were still floating, still going. That surprised me about that much. Remember who you're talking about. You're talking about April. You're talking about Tim. And you're talking about DeWayne. 4 guards saw those things. Still floating. They should have been down on the ground or wherever it was that they're going to wind up someday or some hours after that. Maybe, I don't know, a day and a half tops. It's helium. Another thing that got me is when it got caught up in that trees. Sharon had a hand on it. Jason had a hand on it. And I had a hand on it. And even before they released, Jason kind of looks over and he's like, oh, man, they're going to hit that tree. And I'm like, I hope not. Even though I kind of had that feeling because, anyways, not a one of them popped or burst. Even when they got them down, stood on top of the cab of a truck. And even when they got them down, limbs all over the place, pointy limbs, nothing burst. One balloon got away, a blue one. And then the other ones followed it. Off it went. Once again, damnedest thing I ever seen. That was a day full of the damnedest things I've ever seen. Lights flickering, wind kicks up. Doesn't kick up until I say, let's all remember April. And all of a sudden, whew, here comes that wind. And then it just picks up even more when I say Tim's name and when I say DeWayne's name. It just picks up. Lights flickering. And then there was the whole thing with Stacy and that ghost tube thing. Seeing figures that weren't there, like they animating stick figures, seeing those things that weren't there dancing, and 1 or 2 on the table. And right then I thought, that's April. She would do that. It was. And yeah, well, Tony is in one of the chat rooms. Tony Fairchild. He saw that. Teresa, I think, saw that. I know Sharon saw it because it actually wrapped its arms around Sharon. Well, I say it, let me say she. She wrapped her arms around Sharon and was holding Sharon's hands. At one point, she was behind me. Didn't bother me a bit. She can go with me wherever I go. She was a friend. That was just some of the things that have happened here lately. So when I think that we've been blessed beyond measure, oh, yes, we have. Oh, you betcha. And I can't help but think that some of these people, be it April, be it Tim, and for all I know, I would acknowledge Muriel. I would acknowledge Mamie. I would acknowledge Any one of the number of people who died on the Silver Bridge collapse, when you speak about someone and they're not here on this earth with you, they hear you. I believe that. They know, whether it's they hear you or they sense you or they feel you, when you put forth a kind energy, a good energy, a loving energy, you get that paid back. And sometimes it's quicker than you think. There is not an episode I've done that I have not had some form of respect for the people involved in it. Be it April Pennington, DeWayne Lovelace, Derek and Maria Broaddus of 657 Boulevard. Those people are still alive. I've never met them, never talked to them. They do not want to talk about this thing. I get it. That doesn't mean I don't respect what they went through. Be it Lorraine Warren, I did get to speak with her. You guys have heard this. God, she was beautiful. She had a beautiful soul. All she wanted to do was help people. To use what God had gave her to help people. My mom, and what I now consider to be a great deal of wisdom, told me once. We were sitting at the table. She had just made me some breakfast because I couldn't walk out of that place without eating. She wouldn't have it. And she had a cup of coffee and she was sitting there. And she said, your voice is a gift from God. People want to listen to you. People like to listen to you. And of course, I made a joke out of it. I said, Mom, they said the same damn thing about Hitler. She said, no. She said, there's huge differences. She said, but let me listen. You have that gift from God. And there's going to come a day when that's going to make you a living. I said, well, maybe. She said, there's no maybe about it. You will. But let me be mindful. What you have is a gift from God. What you do with it, well, that's the gift back to God. Here we are. Right back there. Right behind me. I'm proud to be from this area. I'm proud to know the people I know and to have the friends that I'll call friends. And I'm proud of this area. You park some cat from Los Angeles in eastern Kentucky, and they won't know where in the hell to go to use the bathroom. I've been to LA. Not cities, no place I'd necessarily want to live. A little too hectic for me. Been to New York, Texas, Florida several times. Georgia, Tennessee. I love this country. But everybody says, and this is the only problem that I can really come up with Eastern Kentucky, the economic opportunity. Well, I don't know that there really is much of any for most people. Most people leave here. The reason for leaving here is to go find a way to make a better living. You can't fault them for that. If some of the things that were or could have happened actually did happen, it would be a lot better. Maybe some kind of manufacturing jobs or theme parks, something like this. Trevor and I had actually toyed with the idea of putting in a motorcycle campground in this area at one point, in Knott County or Floyd County or someplace. This place, as a motorcycle guy, has some of the most beautiful riding anywhere in the world. We've got awesome roads, beautiful scenery. Of course, we got the deer and stuff to go with it too. And those elk, have you ever seen an elk? Damn things are the size of a freight car and about as heavy. But problem is, of course, is getting that money there. Just like one of our patrons just said, Tony, be back home if there were jobs back there. That's what I'm talking about. And he's telling the truth. He really is. He's telling the truth. I'm one of the lucky ones. I got blessed. I am blessed. I mean, I had job offers to go to Virginia and other places, and like near Virginia Beach and places like that, which I love Virginia Beach, but at the time I didn't know what was holding me back. Then after mom and dad passed and what happened. I get it. Okay, we're asking everybody to say a prayer for Steve Fitch. He's going through some rough times. I'll be the first one to ask God to see him through this. I love Steve. He's a great guy. Love and prayers, brother. Love and prayers. So once again, I've managed to keep you on here for 30 minutes when I really meant 15 to start with. Again, peanut M&M. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready and dive off here. Again, the mountainmysteriespodcast.com. And I'm sorry to be eating on here, but I had to have something. We're getting ready to go back into production on the episode. Actually, we're going to begin writing it. I'm looking at Village of the Damned, which was one of the winners of the Mountain Mysteries podcast Patreon poll. That was one of the stories from I think that was episode 8, the Appalachian Trail Anthology. Well, they tied between that one and Randall Lee Smith, who was the guy that killed 2 people, got put in prison, came back, tried to kill another 2. Thankfully, they survived. But he's coming up too. That's going to happen. We may put them both in together as one. Maybe 30 or 45-minute episode, but that's okay. I'm okay with that as long as you guys like it and listen to it. That's what matters to me. So, with that being said, if you can, support us on Patreon, or you can leave us what I call a tip, a one-time deal. The big thing for me, though, is listen to the stories. Hit that website hard, guys, because that's where everything's going to be dropping first from now on. At some point, depending on if we can do it, and I've not even brought this up to Allie or Arrow yet, maybe hosting the videos on that page, on that website. I don't know the feasibility of that. Maybe Allie will come in tomorrow and look at me and say, Dad, are you nuts? I don't know. I'm not a web person. That would be Arrow and Allie Wilson. They know this stuff. I don't. I just know to get on here and run my mouth. I'm special effects. And on occasion, I'll take out the trash and answer the phones. What else can I say? Guys, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for you tuning in here with me. And if you're watching this video after it was live, once again, thank you very much. I love you guys. I hope that your families, I pray to God that your families and yourself stay safe. We will be back Thursday. This may very well be one of the last ones on Tuesday that we do. But I really wanted to give my daughter and son-in-law a big shout out. And I thank you. The Mountain Mysteries is a family affair. It's not just our family, it's your family, because when it all comes down to it, we are all one family. So until Thursday night at 8 o'clock, when we're going to talk a little bit more, actually quite a bit more about Lorraine Warren and what else is coming up with things, including a way to be of a winning spirit on the new web page. So we'll say that. But I cannot thank you guys enough. I love you. May God bless and keep you all safe and under his protection. Until Thursday, have a wonderful evening. And as always, stay mysterious.
From one coast to the other, mysteries are everywhere, and we will continue to pursue the answers to those questions and more. Please share, like, and rate the Mountain Mysteries podcast, and tell your friends to tune in on Facebook or YouTube. The Mountain Mysteries gatherings are each Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to support the Mountain Mysteries search and help these families, join us on Patreon, or you can make a one-time donation as well. The Mountain Mysteries and the Mountain Mysteries gatherings are property of the Pantry Studios and Chris Sloan, who writes and produces the content. If you would like to reach out to the Mountain Mysteries, please email us at pantrystudio@yahoo.com. Until next time, my friends, stay mysterious.
A Pantry Studio production.